My background's in design. I graduated from Nottingham Trent University doing furniture and product design, then ended up working for Habitat for a while as a designer. Then I went on to open up a bar quite quickly after leaving university, which was good fun. I did that for about 8 years, and then ended up starting Prime Minister. Tristan, on the other hand, he left school quite early and went down to a place called Broxton Hall in Cheshire, where he did an apprenticeship as a chef. He left there when he was about 18 and then came to work for me down in London in my bar, set up my kitchen for a while, and then he left me and went off to be a chef to the stars, went around cooking for people like the Rolling Stones and Robbie Williams and people like that. Ended up in Australia and then came back and started Prime Minister with me. Well, the inspiration for Prime Minister came from a number of different places, really. While I was at university, I went off to Australia as part of my course, and ended up down in Sydney, where there was an amazing pie shop called Harry's Cafe de Wheels, which was just a huge inspiration for me. I thought it was such a great concept, and there was such cool people there eating pie and mash, which was nothing like you saw in the UK. I came back and spoke to Tristan about it when we had the pub together, and then after he left me and he went off and did his chefing, he ended up in Australia. He had a very, very similar experience to me. He came across the pies, he thought they were fantastic. And then, that was really where it came from. Really. He was sort of bringing pies back from Australia back to the UK and just doing it in a different way. Well, Prime Minister name actually came from Tristan, and it came from while he was in Australia. As legend would have it, he was sitting on the beach after his surf, eating a pie. And as we talked about pie companies before he'd left, he was obviously going through his mind. I think it was a good idea. And then, like a flash of inspiration, it came into his head, and Prime Minister was born, really. And then, he rushed back with the name and full of enthusiasm, and that was enough to get us going. Prime Minister started through a sort of series of events, really. So Tristan got back from his travelling, moved back into his mother's house in Bristol. I was in London trying to sell my business. And then I used to come down to Bristol every week for a couple of days, and we'd sit in the basement making pies, on the kitchen table, like a lot of these small businesses start. And then just literally started trudging the streets looking for premises to set up in. We decided Bristol was a good place to do it because it was quite small. There's a great selection of suppliers you can pull from in the southwest, which has been a really big part of the business since day one. And then that was it, really. We kind of looked around. We found an old print works in a place called Stokes Croft, which anyone who knows Bristol isn't the most glamorous part. But it was a great site. It was way too big for us at the time. It was about 5,000 square foot. It was a derelict building, but it was very cheap, and the council gave it to us for nothing, which was great. So we had 2 years without having to pay for it. And we moved in and started knocking it about, and put an oven in and put a counter in, had a little pie shop, and that was how it started, really. Our first big break with Prime Minister was probably about 3 or 4 months into the business. We got offered a place at Borough Market. Now, for those who know Borough Market, it's probably one of the most premier food markets in the world. It's definitely the best and most respected market in the UK, and it's just a fantastic place. I lived very close to there when I was in London myself, so I knew it very well. I used to go down there, weekly and look around, thinking it was just I'd like to visit it, but it was a great place, and I thought it would be a fantastic place to sell pies. So I approached them and said, would you consider us for a position? And it goes through a very, very difficult panel, and they're very, very restrictive about who they let in. But they loved us. They said they were looking for a pie supplier and couldn't find one of a notable quality. So we were accepted, and that in itself was just a really, really big step for us, because suddenly you've got that third-party accreditation from such an institution like Borough, and it just put us on the map. A lot of people who set up delis and all the kind of early adopters in the food industry go down to places like Borough to see what's hot and where to, what's exciting and what sort of new innovations are, and that's really what put us on the map. And then we went from there and grew out of that. We got people knocking on the door asking if we could supply them pies. Well, in our first year, we got an invite from quite a strange place to come trade at Glastonbury. There was a big sort of mobile pop-up bar type thing called the Pussy Parlour, which goes around to festivals all over the country. And they had a stall at Borough, and they're a Bristol-based company. And they said, would we like to come along and put a pie stall on the side of their dance floor and sell pies to their customers and their staff. And we said, yeah, that would be lovely, we'd love to come along and do that, but can we have a little stall out the front as well? And then it was amazing. It was such a great festival, and it really put us on the map. There was a kind of a lucky thing happened to us actually. We got struck by lightning in the first day of the festival, so our whole area we were in got closed down. It was torrential rain like it always is at Glastonbury. So the whole festival was getting really muddy, really churned up by all the festival goers, apart from the area we were in. So by the time the rain subsided and they'd mended all the problems to do with the lightning, the place we were in was the only place where people could sit down and eat. So pretty much the whole festival used to come there for lunch, and we were the only food offerer there. So as a result, we had huge queues that went back. As Glastonbury being Glastonbury, all the other festival organisers from around the country go there as a matter of course to see what's happening. And they saw us with big queues selling great food, and as a result got invited to lots and lots of festivals on the back of it. And that was kind of the beginning of a bit of a thing really. We've become quite a festival institution, and people do really enjoy seeing us there still, which is great. It's still really enjoyable to go and meet the customers face to face in muddy fields and battle the elements year on year, but it's good fun. Well, Pieminister's been through a huge transition over the years. We've been growing very, very quickly since the first year. Sort of 30% growth year on year, which has been quite a difficult thing to manage, but we've managed to do it and managed to improve the quality of the pies as we've been going through. We've remained true to our original sort of golden cows, if you like, which is free range British meat, no additives, preservatives, using the best possible recipes we can and the ingredients we can. As a result, we've been invited to sell pies through supermarkets, so we're in a lot of the major supermarkets now. We've got lots and lots of independent customers, from delis to pubs to pub groups to caterers to wedding caterers. We're at about 25 farmers markets now. We've got 9 retail shops. We've got one over in Holland, which is very exciting for us, and we're hopefully going to expand that and open up more. It's a really exciting company now. There's about 130 people that work for us. It's a really exciting team. Everyone's really sort of excited and dynamic, and hopefully it's going to grow and go from strength to strength. So yeah, we're very proud of it. It's good fun.